welcome to episode 2 of The Beginning Saxophonist, how to put together a saxophone. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is get out a reed. So these are the reeds, and you want to be really careful with the reeds. Don't be touching this end. So there's an end that's a bit more fragile, and then there's an end that's a bit less fragile. So you're gonna want to handle the reed by the less fragile end. Just don't be touching this. They break so easily, and so many kids break reeds, and adults break reeds right away when they're first learning. So yeah, don't touch the end of the reed. Alright, so you put this in your mouth, and this is just to soak the reed and get it wet. So a note on soaking the reeds: don't put them in water. Some people recommend that you put reeds in like a cup of water and just let it soak. They get waterlogged really easily when you do that. Reeds should really never be soaked in water for any length of time, especially when you first take them out of the package. That's gonna wreck them pretty quickly. So yeah, just put it in your mouth, and you want to get both ends of the reed wet. So not just this end, but you want to flip it around and get the harder end wet too. So you'll just keep that in your mouth while you're putting the saxophone together. That's the best way to kind of give it time to soak. So imagine that's still in my mouth. I'm gonna not do that, obviously, to talk. The next thing you're gonna want to do is grab your neck strap and just put it around your neck. That way you have somewhere to put the saxophone so that it's safe. Alright, then you're going to want to grab the neck. So this is the neck of the saxophone, and grab some cork grease. That's a little chapstick tube, and just put a little bit of cork grease on that neck. You don't have to do this each time that you play. It's just whenever you're feeling like it's hard to get the mouthpiece on, that's when you're going to want to put some more cork grease on, just to make it easier to get on and off. Easier to get off is the main thing, because people get their mouthpieces stuck. That definitely happens. So you take the neck, take the mouthpiece, and you just twist it on there. It'll be just kind of a twisting motion. For now, maybe about that far. That's pretty normal. That's gonna determine the tuning, and different instruments have different intonation tendencies, so for now just stick with this until you learn enough to know where your intonation tendencies are. Alright, so then putting the reed on the mouthpiece, take this is called a ligature. And you put the ligature on the mouthpiece. Make sure that it's loose enough so that you can get the reed in there. Some people will put the reed on first and then put the ligature over, but I find that, especially with younger beginners, that's an easy way to chip the reed. So just sliding the ligature like that so there's enough room to get that reed in there, that will also work really well. Probably a little bit easier. So leave some room there, take the reed, and you're gonna want to put the flat end in there. So you just slide it so the flat end is against the mouthpiece, fragile end is up. Be careful again with the reed while you're putting that on there. And then you'll just slide this down, and you want to make sure that the end of the reed is about flush with the end of the mouthpiece. So if you can see that, put it against there we go. So yeah, it'll be about flush with the end of the mouthpiece, and just kind of line it up on there the best you can, and tighten that ligature down with the screw. So the screw on most ligatures is going to be on this end. Some of them, they will be on this side of the mouthpiece, but most of them, especially the metal ones, are gonna be on this side. And a lot of them have 2 screws, some have 1, it just kind of depends. So you'll screw that on, and you want to screw it not super, super tight. You want it tight enough so that the reed doesn't move around. But you don't want it so tight that it's just like suffocating the reed and like not allowing it to vibrate. So find a happy medium, just tight enough so the reed doesn't move, but not overly tight. All right, so then you set that aside for a second. You grab your saxophone. Always pick up the body of the saxophone by the bell. That's the best way to not damage it. So grab it by the bell and hook it right here. Then you unscrew, not all the way, but loosen this screw here. So there'll be a screw most of the time on the right side that you can loosen, and then go ahead and put your neck on. So there's a couple different ways of doing this. I am teaching the way of putting the mouthpiece on the neck first, because a lot of times when people teach to put the neck first and then put the mouthpiece and the reed on, especially younger beginners tend to pull down on this neck, and it can get bent really easily. It happens all the time. I can't even count how many times I've had to like grab a student's neck and not their actual neck, but grab a student's neck of their saxophone and like bend it back a little bit because they have bent it from pulling down on it while they're trying to get their mouthpiece on. So to avoid that whole thing, it's sometimes easier just to put it all on the neck first and then screw the neck onto the body of the saxophone. So that's why I'm teaching it that way, as opposed to the other way. All right, so you've got your saxophone together. Now I'm gonna show you how to take it apart and run a swab through it. So when you're taking it apart, you can first take the reed off, and don't just like throw these in your case. You can put them in a reed case. These are really nice, or just the little plastic sleeves that they come in, but don't just throw it in the case. Definitely don't leave it on your mouthpiece. Please, please don't leave it on your mouthpiece. That's really gross. They get moldy. Don't do that. All right, so yeah, put your reed away. Then take off your mouthpiece, being really careful, or alternatively, take off the neck first, then the mouthpiece. All right, and swabbing, you're gonna wanna swab through everything because everything has moisture in it. So first, swabbing through the mouthpiece. Take that swab, run it through. Swabbing through the neck. So take that swab, just run it through. Make sure your swab fits through your neck first. So if it's a silk swab, it should fit. If it's a thick cottony swab, it probably won't, so maybe don't try. But yeah, be careful with that. But yeah, try to get a swab that will fit through your neck. A nice silk swab will do that. And then swabbing through the body. So I usually throw in this end and then empty it out the bell. Some people prefer the other way. I don't know that one way is necessarily right over the other, but there you go. All right, so that is how you put together and disassemble a saxophone. Be sure to like and subscribe so you know when I have new videos up. See ya on the next episode.